already built up by the Bank of Ghana. And on this basis, I wish to assure the Ghanaian people that there is enough foreign exchange supply in the market. Hence, there is no need to rush to buy forex. There is enough foreign exchange on the market, and we will continue to ensure that the supply is sustained, if not even increased. Ladies and gentlemen, the fiscal consolidation program is holding. As primary balance on commitment basis improved by about 4% deficit of 0.3% of GDP at the end of 2023. Preliminary fiscal data for first quarter of this year showed that the primary balance on commitment was a deficit of 0.6% of GDP against the deficit target of 0.2% of GDP, largely on the back of delays in the implementation of some of the 2024 revenue measures approved for the 2024 budget. We plan to fast-track revenue mobilization in subsequent to enable us to achieve our primary balance target of a surplus of 0.5% in 2024 and 1.5% of GDP in the 2025-2028 period. In addition, we are working to restore debt sustainability by 2028. The public debt trajectory is already showing signs of improvement as the debt to GDP ratio reduced to 71.4% of GDP at the end of 2023 from 73.5% of GDP at the end of 2022. We have also strengthened our social protection interventions to ensure that the poor and the most vulnerable are protected from the impact of the economic difficulties and adjustment. We've doubled, for example, the benefits under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. And we've done this 2 years in a row. We've also indexed the program, the LEAP benefits, to inflation so that the effect of inflation does not wipe off the benefits the LEAP delivers to our people. We have also increased the benefit under the Ghana School Feeding program by 25%. And we have also increased allocation to the National Health Insurance Scheme by more than 40%. In addition to this, we have increased the allocation to the capitation grant by 25% to support basic education. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we implement the fiscal consolidation, we have not forgotten of the poor and the vulnerable. Ours is to promote inclusive growth. And this is demonstrated by the increasing spending that we are seeing in these social actions for our people. As part of the implementation of the PCPEC, ladies and gentlemen, Cabinet has approved the plan for restructuring and recapitalization of the National Investment Bank. This will require a program projection of about 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. And this will be done over the next 12 months. The first tranche of 400 million Ghana cedis is expected to be transferred to the National Investment Bank before the end of this month, May 2024. And this demonstrates our commitment to implementing the recapitalization and restructuring program for NIB. The plan also includes measures to strengthen the governance structure. Government has intervened in NIB in the past, and therefore this time around, this intervention, the capital intervention, is going to be backed by governance reforms in NIB in order to assure us and the people of Ghana that their money, your money that we are putting into NIB will be managed well. Some of the governance reforms will include strengthening the structure and operational efficiency of the bank, enhance supervision, and also to improve risk management to sustain the financial viability of the bank. We will continue to implement strong and ambitious structural reforms in other areas of public resource or public financial management, including tax policy, revenue administration, and other relevant reforms that will support the structural strengthening of our economy, as well as helping to address structural weaknesses and to enhance our resilience to shocks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are making remarkable progress towards restoration of macroeconomic stability and economic recovery. And we are not going to relent. In spite of the fiscal pressures, including security spending to maintain peace and order, we are determined to hold the line to ensure that we meet our fiscal targets for the year. We will not hesitate to make any necessary adjustment that will ensure that we do not deviate from the fiscal path. Now let me give you updates on the debt restructuring. You may recall that we successfully concluded the domestic debt exchange program in 2023, following the launch of the government's comprehensive debt restructuring operation in December 2022. We are now at the final stages of completing the external debt restructuring program as well. Since the debt restructuring program began, government financing sources have been limited to treasury bills. Market participants have, however, raised concerns about the relatively high rates of T-bills compared to the pre-DDEP interest rates. But I want to assure them on two fronts. We have successfully paid 2 bullet coupons, each of about 6 billion Ghana cedis for the domestic DDEP. And we want to assure the market, come August 2024, the third coupon will also be honored. We will continue to honor our obligations and on time. I want to give the market this assurance. The second assurance is that lower portfolio risk with regard to the average weighted interest rate, which we have achieved under the DD program, is one of the strongest features of the program. The pre-DDEP weighted average interest rate was around 21%. This has, however, reduced by 7.5 percentage points to around 13.5%. And this we achieved on account of a relatively small weight of the short-term instruments in the entire public debt portfolio. Let me even add a third assurance. We are all seeing signs of economic stabilization emerging, and the government, as I have already enumerated, has made significant progress in stabilizing the macroeconomy on the back of increasing growth, improved primary and fiscal balance, declining interest rates and inflation, albeit some instability in the exchange rate arising mainly from seasonal factors and the strengthening of the dollar, as I indicated earlier. We are therefore confident of locking in these positive gains in the near term with a further reduction in these key economic aggregates to improve domestic market sentiments post-DDEP. And so, for market participants, this is our assurance to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may further recall, we also launched 2 external debt operations, the official bilateral creditors debt restructuring and the commercial creditors debt restructuring. In December 2022, Ghana requested for debt treatment under the G20 Common Framework. This framework was first adopted in 2020 as one of the most important decisions by the G20 and endorsed by the Paris Club for 73 eligible developing countries. Currently, 4 countries have requested this debt treatment, including Ghana. Financing assurances were given by the Official Creditor Committee, established as part of the Common Framework. On 12 January 2024, prior to the IMF Executive Board approval of the first review of the fund program, Ghana received financing assurance upon reaching an agreement in principle with the Official Creditor Committee. This, as we have reported over and over, would deliver significant debt relief to our country. But I'm happy, ladies and gentlemen, to announce that we have moved beyond agreement in principle. As of yesterday, 3rd May 2024, we officially received the draft Memorandum of Understanding from the Official Creditor Committee. The government, therefore, with support from our financial and legal advisors, will quickly review this draft agreement with a view to finalizing and signing the agreement with the OCC as soon as possible. And so for all of those who have been waiting, and as of, I believe last week, I read from the front pages, of some of our media houses, indicating that Ghana received the draft MOU. I can imagine your anticipation. And so I'm happy to say that we have now formally received the draft MOU. And we are going to work harder and quickly to round up the negotiation and sign the MOU. Ladies and gentlemen, we have, in a very constructive manner, also made significant and good progress on our Euro bond holders. It is important to note that we are operating under a complex set of constraints as part of the IMF debt sustainability thresholds, and this formed the context and basis of discussions for a mutual understanding of the financial parameters with our Euro bond holders. We've held several rounds of negotiations on proposals and counter-proposals on the Eurobond treatment. This led to a series of restrictive discussions for about 3 weeks, just before the IMF spring meetings, which ended successfully on the 15th of April 2024. At the end of these discussions, we ended with very narrow differences between our position and those of the bondholders. But let me assure you that considerable progress is being made towards a constructive solution that will be acceptable to all parties. It is for this reason that we are rather confident and more optimistic that we can continue to work together on solutions that would deliver an acceptable compromise for all stakeholders, both the government party and the bondholders. We are determined to reach an agreement with our bondholders and our commercial creditors as well on terms that are consistent with the IMF program parameters, and we will put all our efforts towards attaining that objective in the coming weeks. Let me now touch on SME growth and the opportunity program. Ladies and gentlemen, as it stands, SMEs in Ghana account for 92% of existing companies, 85% of manufacturing jobs, and 70% of GDP. Within that context, our small and medium enterprises represent a significant opportunity for providing growth and employment that is sustainable, inclusive, and impactful. In fact, I've seen data that suggests that 80% of employment in Ghana are created by SMEs. With that in mind, the SME Growth and Opportunity Program is being designed to consolidate ongoing SME support programs and offer better targeted support to a select number of companies that have the potential to transition from SMEs to large businesses under the SME Champions Initiative. The program will be coordinated by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. The Ghana Enterprises Agency, Ghana Exim Bank, and Development Bank Ghana, which work with some other commercial banks, what we call the PFIs, will offer tailored technical and financial support to program beneficiaries. And I wish to announce also that as part of this program, we will soon roll out a nationwide training program for SMEs in basic accounting practices in order to improve on their credit worthiness, and also to assure the banks that the risk of lending to SMEs will be abated.